Welcome back to O-Level Oasis, your guide to mastering O-Level CAIEs. I hope you are all preparing well for your exams and finding my videos helpful. We have already completed all 11 chapters of O-Level Biology 5090 on this channel, and today we will start practicing past paper questions. Please note that the unsolved question paper we will be working on is linked in both the description and the comments for easy access. Make sure to attempt the paper on your own before watching the solutions. So, let's get started. So, the first question we have is a theory-based question which says, describe one effect of nicotine on the circulatory system. This question is asking us to recall the harmful effects of nicotine on the heart and blood vessels and to describe at least one clear effect in biological terms. To solve this question, we think about how nicotine affects blood vessels and the heart. Nicotine causes the arteries to constrict, which reduces the space for blood to flow. This narrowing increases resistance in the blood vessels, leading to a rise in blood pressure. Over time, nicotine also contributes to atherosclerosis by damaging artery walls, increases the tendency of blood to clot, and makes the heart beat faster. Any one of these effects would be acceptable, as long as it is clearly linked to the circulatory system. Therefore, the correct answer we will write is, nicotine leads to increased blood pressure due to constriction of arteries, causes atherosclerosis, increases the tendency for blood clotting, and raises the heart rate, so this is the correct answer. Coming on to paper 1 questions, look at the first question. The question says, blood is made up of a number of different components. The pie chart shows the percentage volume of each of the components of blood. What is the percentage volume of blood for the component that has the function of transporting oxygen? To solve this question, we first identify which component of blood transports oxygen. Oxygen is transported by red blood cells, because they contain hemoglobin, which binds to oxygen. Next, we locate red blood cells in the key of the pie chart and observe the size of its segment. The light gray section represents red blood cells and is clearly the second largest portion of the pie chart. Plasma is the largest at about 55%, white blood cells form a very small fraction at about 1%, and the remaining large portion belongs to red blood cells, which is approximately 44 to 45%. When we compare this value with the given options, 44% matches best. Therefore, the correct answer is C, which is 44%, so this is the correct option. The next question says, what is the total number of atria and ventricles that the blood passes through during 2 complete circuits of the human body? To answer this, we begin by recalling the structure of the human heart. The heart has 4 chambers, 2 atria and 2 ventricles. Humans have a double circulatory system, meaning that in one complete circuit, blood passes through the heart twice. In the first circuit, known as the pulmonary circulation, blood passes through the right atrium and right ventricle. In the second circuit, known as the systemic circulation, blood passes through the left atrium and left ventricle. This means that during one complete circuit, blood passes through 4 chambers in total. Since the question asks about 2 complete circuits, we multiply 4 chambers by 2, giving a total of 8 chambers. Therefore, the correct answer is C, which is 8, so this is the correct option. The next question says, the table shows the range of percentages of different types of tissue found in the walls of the aorta of people of different ages. Which conclusion about the range of percentages is correct? To solve this, we calculate the range for each tissue type by subtracting the minimum value from the maximum value. For elastic tissue, the range is 8% in young adults and 12% in old adults. For muscle tissue, the range is 7% in young adults and 28% in old adults, and for collagen tissue, the range is 23% in young adults and 27% in old adults. We then carefully evaluate each option. Option A is incorrect because the total collagen range across both groups is 38%, not 39%. Option B is incorrect because the ranges are actually larger in old adults, not smaller. Option C states that the range of muscle tissue in old adults is 4 times greater than in young adults, and this is correct because 7 multiplied by 4 equals 28. Option D is also incorrect because collagen, not elastic tissue, has the greatest overall range. Therefore, the correct answer is C, so this is the correct option. Next, we have a question that says, the table shows information about 3 different blood vessels, P, Q and R. One of the vessels is an artery, one is a capillary and one is a vein. Using the information from the table, what is the cross-sectional area of the lumen of the vein? We are also told to assume that pi equals 3.14. To solve this question, the first step is to identify which blood vessel is the vein. We know that capillaries have extremely thin walls and very small lumens, so vessel Q, with a wall thickness of less than 1 micrometer and a lumen diameter of 0.008 millimeters, must be the capillary. That leaves vessels P and R to be identified as the artery and the vein. Arteries have very thick walls and relatively smaller lumens, while veins have thinner walls and wider lumens. Vessel R has the thickest wall at 1000 micrometers and a lumen of 4 millimeters, which fits the description of an artery. Vessel P has a thinner wall of 500 micrometers and the widest lumen of 5 millimeters, so vessel P must be the vein. Now that we have identified the vein as vessel P, we calculate the cross-sectional area of its lumen. The diameter of the lumen is 5 millimeters, so the radius is half of that, which is 2.5 millimeters. Using the formula for the area of a circle, A equals pi r squared, we substitute the values. With pi equals 3.14 and radius equals 2.5 millimeters, the area comes out to approximately 19.6 millimeters square. When we compare this value with the options, it matches option B. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Now, the next question says, the table shows the number of deaths estimated to be due to smoking in England each year from 2009 to 2019. Using the information in the table, which statement is correct? To answer this question, we carefully examine each option using the information provided. First, option A suggests that the number of deaths went down every year. This statement is not correct because in some years the number actually went up, for example from 2011 to 2012 and again from 2014 to 2015. Next, option B states that the number of deaths fell by about 9% between 2009 and 2019. In 2009 there were 82,000 deaths, and in 2019 there were 74,600 deaths. This means the number of deaths went down by 7,400, which is roughly a 9% decrease. This makes option B reasonable for a multiple choice answer. Option C claims that the smallest number of deaths occurred in 2018. This is incorrect because the lowest figure is actually in 2019, when there were 74,600 deaths. Finally, option D says that the biggest drop happened between 2017 and 2018. However, the largest decrease actually took place between 2018 and 2019, so this option is also wrong. Therefore, the correct answer is option B, which states that the number of deaths decreased by about 9% between 2009 and 2019.